Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of From the Heart. I'm your host, Chloe Trca, and this is a podcast where we talk all things health, wellness, lifestyle, mindset. I give a lot of my advice and tips for you guys based on things that I've learned in my life. It's coming from the heart. It's a very real, in the moment, kind of lesson style podcast. I like to take you guys through all the lessons I learned and teach you what I wish I would have maybe known sooner, or I don't know, help aid you guys in learning all of these tips, tricks, and little habits sooner. So today's episode is going to be geared towards running, and this was inspired by a TikTok live that I did because everyone was asking me loads of questions on running. Running is a huge part of my life. I've been running for the last 2.5 years. I went from being a sprinter, never ran more than like a 200-meter dash. I was big into track. I had like a private training coach in track in high school for a couple years. I loved to run, but I loved to run short distance because that's what I was good at. That's what the Lord gifted me in, was my ability to run fast, not long. And so flashback to like 2022, going into 2023, I was like in a weird funk within fitness. I have a whole episode. I probably have a couple episodes on running, like what inspired me, how running honestly changed my life. But I needed something new. I needed a change. I was in a rut. I was going to the gym and I felt like I was training, but I wasn't actually even training towards a physique that I wanted. I was putting in all this work. I was lifting super heavy. I was getting really strong, but I was like working towards something I didn't actually want. I just did it because that's all I really knew how to do, or all I had ever done, I guess. I knew how to do other things. But I kind of had a crisis, and I remember being like, okay, I need a challenge, because lifting comes easy to me. It comes very natural. So does sprinting. But I wanted something hard. I wanted something to work for. I was recently graduated from college, and I just needed something to work towards, I guess. I no longer had school. I felt maybe a little lost. And so I picked up running long distance. I was actually going to do bikini competitions, like bodybuilding, but I knew that just like wasn't a passion of mine. I knew that would have probably caused more issues than any benefit, and I really didn't have a passion for it. And a lot of my friends are bodybuilders, and they've always said, like, you have to have a burning passion to be in the sport. It's a really intense sport, and if you don't have the love and passion and you're doing it for any wrong reason, like, it's just not going to be a great time, a good journey. It's not going to be beneficial. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, that's not me. I have no desire to stand on stage. I had no desire to, go through a prep. I really didn't. And so I was like, what's the other hardest thing I could do? And I was like, long distance running. And I was like, let's start with a half marathon. It's actually funny. If you guys know Kylie Ross, she's a YouTuber, Instagrammer, old Gymshark athlete. She started her running journey, and she was an ex-soccer player. So her and I are built like very similar, like more strong, leg dominant, quad dominant. And she did it. And I was like, okay, if she can do it, I probably could too. And I just decided, literally in the gym parking lot one day, I made a TikTok and I was like, I'm going to start running. I'm going to train for half marathon. And I did. I gave myself like 3 or 4 months, like a very long time, because I was nervous. I had never done it. I didn't know, none of my friends, I didn't have a coach. I had no one to get advice from other than researching it myself, and just kind of, I guess, like learning as I go was kind of my, I guess, mindset behind it. And I knew it'd be a challenge. I knew it'd be hard, but I wanted to unlock a deeper level of that within myself. I knew it would teach me a lot, and boy, did it teach me even more than I expected. To this day, one of the better decisions I've ever made. I don't want to say best decision, because there's so many things that I've done in my life that are, like going to church and moving across the country, amazing things, but this is at the top for sure. Anyway, I just want to make this episode geared towards that girl who I was at the beginning of my running journey. So if any of you guys are new to running, want to start getting into running, but haven't because you're nervous, you're scared, you don't know what you're doing, I'm going to go over 15 things I wish I would have known at the start of my running journey. These are all very helpful, and I definitely could have benefited by knowing this sooner, but it's okay. Everything happens for a reason, and now I'm here to tell you guys so you can know this in advance. This is in no particular order. This was me just like brainstorming. So the first thing that I really recommend, one, is just hydrate in general. Most of you guys probably don't drink enough water. I didn't until I was on 75 hard. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces a day, like minimum, especially if you're active. You should be probably drinking more than that. So this is just a broad example, easy to follow. If you weigh 100 pounds, you need to be drinking 50 ounces of water. If you weigh 150 pounds, you need to be drinking 75 ounces of water a day. So for me, if I'm dehydrated, I feel it in my training. I feel it even when I lift. I feel it in any sort of training. I feel it in my energy levels, but especially with running, I feel like it's the most prevalent, for sure. Like, honestly, it's funny though, because you'll suffer and you won't even know like you're suffering because you're dehydrated. But once you're hydrated, you no longer feel the feelings that you once did. And it's like, wow, you feel like you could just run forever. Since doing 75 hard, the last like month and a half, I feel like my running has been so much smoother. My body's felt better. I've recovered better. I haven't like cramped up or anything. It's just been amazing. And I feel like I feel better throughout the day too. After my runs, I'm not as depleted. That was a huge thing. After my long runs, I would genuinely feel hungover. That's also, we'll get to it, another reason behind that. But hydrate. If you're going to start running, you need to be hydrating because you're probably going to be sweating a lot more. Especially if you live in some like a warm climate and you run outside, like Arizona in the summer. Oh my gosh. My clothes would be soaking wet. Sorry, that's probably gross. But like I was sweating. I'm a sweaty girl though, but it was like intense. But like kind of like a side note to hydrating, I really recommend like hydrating 2 days prior to like a long run and 2 days prior to like a race day. Like lock in, drink extra water, and also implement like minerals and electrolytes. Those are very important because you're sweating out so much sodium. You need to replenish that, and also minerals. So I mean, I wouldn't really recommend Liquid IV, but take like a packet like that. There's like Element. I mean, there's like a million now, and it really, you can look it up yourself. I don't want to recommend one and one only, but so many electrolytes. Just find one with some minerals in it too and drink that. I usually drink one every single day, but like 2 days before a long run and 2 days before a race, I always drink like 1 or 2 of those a day, and after the runs, because you need to replenish that. But my track coach taught me that little tip of hydration is like delayed a little bit. So whatever you're drinking and eating like a few days, and sleeping as well, like hits you in the future, like a day or 2 later. So he was always really heavy on making sure we were sleeping, drinking, and eating right, like 2 days before a meet. And so I kind of implement that to racing and also long runs, just because long runs can be a lot on your body. So make sure you're prepping for it the best way you can. The second thing is, this is funny. This is just something I wish I would have understood and realized, is you will be so much hungrier the day after your long run. Maybe this is just me. I don't think so, because I've heard a lot of people talk about this as well. But like, if I have a long run, I'm not that hungry that day. I think my body's like been through so much. It's not firing the hunger cues. I still obviously eat and I nourish my body the way it needs to be, but it's not an excess amount like you would assume, maybe just because you're burning a surplus of calories compared to normal. But the next day, I feel like you sleep, you recover, and then your body's like, fuel me. Like I ran 9 miles yesterday, and today I'm like, yep, your girl's hungry, like all the time. So honor that. That's the whole point of this, is honor your hunger, because you will be extra hungry. You're doing probably a much higher volume of cardio than you were previous to running. And the more you burn, the more you need to be refueling and replenishing too, because you don't want to be in a huge deficit. That's not good. So understand you'll be eating more, and that's important, and that's good. And that's going to aid in your recovery. That's going to aid in your strength and building your endurance and your speed and all of that. Make sure you're eating food. Okay. Number 3 is that running with friends makes running so much easier. I remember the first time I ran with Taylor, it was probably over a year into my running journey, because I ran my first half marathon completely alone. I trained completely. I never ran with anyone ever. One, I was a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with them. I don't know if, like, I didn't know how we were going to pace each other. Come to find out, like, whoever's slower, you just run at their pace. If you're going to like go on a run with someone, you kind of think ahead about that. So like implement it into your split, into your routine, into your plan if need be. Also too, if you don't take running that serious and just do it as a hobby, like it's okay to slow down. Okay. It's okay to slow down. But also too, you could utilize it and find someone who does run your pace and your speed, and then just stick with them. It's really helpful. But I swear it makes the time go by so much faster. It's so funny because there's those 3 Utah runner girls who are like blowing up on social media right now. And everyone's like, how do they run so many miles? But I'm like, yo, they're running together. Like it actually, not that like I'm not discrediting their ability to do any of that because they're amazing. They're disciplined. They put in the work for sure. But they're like, why do you guys have so much fun? I'm like, it's actually so enjoyable to run with friends. I convinced Taylor, my best friend, to run a half marathon with me like a year and a half into training. It was last January. And it was so much fun when we do our long runs together. We'd go on little like couple mile runs. Even when I would come back and visit, we would go on runs together. Genuinely so much fun. That's the start of Kyler and I's little relationship, is he would do my long runs with me between 2 half marathons this time last year, actually. We did like 2 10-mile runs together, and it bonded us because that's, one, a long time to be one-on-one with somebody, and 2, you never really run in silence too often. Like when you're with someone, you don't usually wear headphones and you just chat. It is so much. I love it. I wish I had a running buddy here. Maybe I need to find one because I just been running on the treadmills and that's fine. I'm enjoying it actually. But when I do run outside, I do prefer to have like a running buddy. Kyler will run with me every now and then, but it makes a difference. So if you're new to running and you're a little nervous, find a friend. And then 2, a bonus to that is it's a huge accountability partner. They'll make sure you're, getting in your runs, you're staying on pace, you're doing what you need to be doing. You guys just hold each other accountable and you can encourage each other and push each other during the runs, because there's going to be tough moments, there's going to be tough days, there's going to be bad runs, but having someone kind of as a cheerleader in the corner supporting you and also going through it with you is so helpful. Like that's probably a little like cheat code, is find a friend to run with, or a group. I think a group's even better. But again, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Like I did it completely on my own for the first year and a half. I just did realize like, wow, that run went by, I swear, in half the time, because I had someone to run with me. So tip number 4 is the power of prayer and the music that you're listening to is insane. Okay. Like it makes a significant impact on your run. I used to listen to, at the start, I would listen to like Big Booty Mix. I would listen to like remixes. Like I would look up top running songs. And they were great in the moment, I thought. But when music's really, really high pace, high beat, it either, 1, makes you run way too fast, or 2, it will literally accelerate your heart rate. Like your body almost like gets into the rhythm of the music. And that can be actually like not beneficial. That can be, and I don't want to say harmful, but I just can't think of a better word. But it can be counterproductive, because I noticed these songs were increasing my anxiety. They were actually making me so anxious and they were exhausting me. And the more I leaned into my faith, the more I started listening to worship music, and I realized how peaceful it makes me. And it's so funny because worship music can like get really hype. It can get really fun, but some of them are really slow and like deep and almost like emotional. But that's all I run to now. And it has changed my life, because if you listen to worship music, if you're Christian, like the feeling of the Holy Spirit in your body, it almost like numbs you out. Like you can't explain it, but you're so into the song. You're so encapsulated by the words. You literally are like warm and on fire in a good way, because it's like the Holy Spirit. But running to that, like mixed with endorphins, is like the best feeling in the entire world. Like when I'm running, I practically have my hands out, I'm like praising, I'm like having so much fun. I feel like I'm at church. I'm having church on my runs. Running is very much so of a form of worship for me, because it's time with me, like alone with God. It's just me and my thoughts and the Lord. And I listen to worship music and I pray. But speaking of prayer, another thing I do as well is I pray before runs, and I just pray that the Lord will give me strength and get me through this run. I always say he won't bring me to it if he couldn't get me through it. And it gives me confidence that I can, face this new run, whether it's a faster pace I've never done, or if it's a longer distance I haven't done, or just a really tough workout that I have. I pray, and I pray before the workout. I'll pray during the workout when I'm struggling. And it changes the game, you guys. I can't explain to you how much this has changed my life with running. It makes me also to just like love running and enjoy it so much. But I can't even give credit to myself for this, because Kyler actually last year when I would do long runs with him, he saw how nervous I would get before my runs. Like I would be an anxious mess. Like I would go quiet. My heart would be like at like 140 before we even started running. Not 140, but like probably 120. Like it was high. And he's like, that isn't normal. Like let's pray. And he forced me to like pray before I like started running. We'd pray together, or I just like walk off my own and pray. And I was kind of had a moment like, why did I never do this? And then like a week later, I was doing a hill workout, and hills, like I had a thing with hills last year. Hills were like a mental block, I would say, because there was a big hill in one of my races and I never trained incline, which is my own fault. But it got in my head so bad. Like it wasn't even physically that hard, but I couldn't recover after. And it was just a mental thing. Anyway, after that, I decided to start training hills, and I had this like big hill by my old apartment, and I would do workouts on it. And it was hard. It was like a 2-minute hill, which is like far. I think it was like 0.33 up, which if you think about a track, stretch that out and then add another like 100 meters at a pretty good incline. That's what you're running. And I think I would do like 6 or 8 of them. And the first like 3, I remember listening to my like running music, like hype music. And I was like, in my mind, there's no way I'm doing 5 more of these. Like there's actually no way. And then there was a flip of a switch. There was a moment I remember seeing, it was like sunset was starting to hit, and there was a church that was like across the street, and the cross was like glowing in the sunset. And I just noticed it because one, I'm like a big, sunsets and me are like a thing, like it's my jam. It's a very like spiritual thing too. Like, I don't know, I feel close to God at like sunrise, sunset. Anyway, but it just all hit me when I was like running down the hill, like recovering. And I was like, why am I not listening to worship music? And I started praying as I ran down, and then I got to the bottom of the hill. I distinctly remember this. And I would time, obviously, my like sprints just to make sure I was like staying on pace. And then I learned from my track coach, like if you're not maintaining and you're completely like slowing down a ton, just cut it. Cause like you're not going to gain much after that if you can't maintain what you're doing. And so I would time it, and I was like hitting a pretty decent time, and I switched the music. I put my worship playlist on. I never had ran to this ever. And I did the hill, and I remember there was like the halfway mark, because it was like a driveway, and I always knew that was about halfway. And honestly, that's when it kind of like settled in, like 45 seconds to a minute in, and you start to feel it. And I remember having my worship music playing, and I was going up this hill. I felt like I was floating. I literally felt like I was floating. And I'm like, this is so weird. Like, why is this so easy? I'm like, there's no way I'm running that fast. Like, it didn't feel like the effort was equal. Like, I wasn't straining as hard, but I hit the halfway, and I'm like, oh, I've never felt this good. Like, there's no way. I have to be so slow. Kept going. Never really hit like a critical, like dire moment of like, oh, this is hurting, because that kept happening, you know. And I finished, and I checked my time, and I ran 6 seconds faster up that hill. And I was like dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I thought I ran 12 seconds slower, because the effort, the strain didn't even feel like it was there. I was a little concerned, like I wasn't giving it my all, but I'm like, I don't know, like I thought the steps count was like the same, like the stride, the tempo was the same, but the effort in my physical body didn't feel that intense. And I ran faster by 6 seconds. That's a lot. 6 seconds when you're running is a lot, especially up a pretty short hill. And I like could not believe it. And I remember running down, and I was like almost emotional, and I finished the entire workout, and every single one of them was faster and faster and faster. And it was because of worship music, because it calmed my anxiety. It gave me a sense of peace and confidence in my abilities, and it became a moment of worship. And literally since then, you guys, I made a TikTok about this, and I posted about it on my story like way back when this happened, because I was so like, oh my gosh. And I remember like sending Kyler a video, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're never gonna believe this. This is before him and I were dating, really just friends. But I kind of liked him, and I was telling him about it. And it was just such a full circle moment, because I'm like, this is what I had been missing. And a couple weeks later, I had my second half marathon. I listened to worship music the entire time, PR'd by like a few minutes, felt amazing the entire run, like no anxiety. Obviously I was like nervous before, because you just get like pre-race jitters. But like during the race, I was calm, cool, collected, prayed, was into the songs. I swear the Lord was putting like exactly, because I just have it on shuffle. And in the moment, like the Lord played the song I needed. Like if it was a moment where I needed like energy and I was like hype and I was feeling good, I'd have like a hype upbeat song. If there was a moment where I was kind of feeling it and I needed something more like deep and, you know, in your head, and you like lock into the song and it just feels empowering or whatever, it was happening. And I'm like, this is amazing. And so now since then, the last like year, that's quite literally all I've listened to when I run. The very few times, it's funny too, the very few times I don't, the run isn't great. And I did this honestly like a couple weeks ago. I was doing, what was the workout? It was like a speed workout. And I was getting side stitches so bad. Oh, no. It was a long run. But it was like a tempo progressive. So like every couple miles, the speed would get faster. And this is the first time I'd ran faster than my race pace in a workout. So I was really nervous. I was running like an 8:10 pace, and I've never done that. And I was like, maybe I need something more upbeat. Don't know why I thought this or did this, because this is so counter of what I knew was going to happen. I knew this was going to be bad, but maybe this happened so I could tell you guys this and have this story. But I switched to like the running music and some throwback music, and I was like vibing for the first 30 seconds. And I'm not even lying. I got 2 side stitches in both my sides, and I had to stop and like breathe and catch my breath. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I put my worship music back on, side stitches went away, and the workout was great. And I was like, Chloe, like that is, it's the secret sauce. So pray before your runs, pray on your runs, listen to worship music. It will change your life. It does. It's like an euphoric feeling with endorphins and the Holy Spirit. Anyway, moving on. That was a long one, but I feel very passionate about that, and I wish I would have known that at the beginning, but that's okay. Number 5 is easy runs are supposed to be easy. I didn't understand the concept of like tempo, easy runs, long runs. I was new, and they're all equally important. I'll kind of get more into that in the next tip, but when you have an easy run, whether you have a coach, you follow a program, like an easy run is supposed to feel easy. I think everyone assumes you have to go out and run race pace every single run. No, I used to do that. I used to run the same pace every single run, no matter the distance. My heart rate was always at like race, like 175. That's not normal. Like you should have like a 150 heart rate or lower probably on an easy run. And that's important. Like your body just needs to get in like miles, but it doesn't need that like intense load and strain on your body. It should feel easy. And honestly, easy runs just prove how much like endurance and shape that I've built. Like it's kind of like, like a confidence boost of I can go on a run and not be exhausted. I can go run 5 miles and feel fresh and feel fine. It doesn't have to be a fight to the finish. So take advantage of your easy runs. And if you're not doing them, do them. Like they're like 2 minutes slower than your normal run. Like slow. And it's okay if you're literally out there running a 12-minute pace. Like that is, it doesn't matter where you are, but just slow down, find that heart rate zone and take advantage of it. I remember the first time I learned about this, Caitlin Miller and her friend Davia were in town, and they're like big runners, and we were talking about it, and they were like, you are putting yourself through so much like unnecessary strain with running that fast in that effort every single time. Like give yourself an easy run. And ever since then I've been doing it. And that kind of leads me into number 6, and that is to follow a plan, hire a coach, have some sort of organized, structured plan. It makes it so much easier. 1, it just gives you confidence, and 2, it will actually get you from like start to finish. Right now I'm using Trca. This is like kind of a shameless plug, but not really. Like genuinely, if I wasn't even affiliated, I'd be recommending this to you guys. I use it, and it has significantly improved my running. Like I can't honestly compliment it enough. It is the most helpful app. Again, shameless plug, but like code Chloe T will get you 2 weeks free. But you guys, like, I'm telling you that also too, just so you try it. Even if it's just 2 weeks and you don't like it, which I think you will, just try it out and just sample it and maybe get 2 weeks into running. Because I think the first 2 weeks are the hardest. And then after that, you start to build endurance, like a base level endurance, and you kind of get into shape, and running becomes much more enjoyable after that. So grind through the first few weeks, trust the process, and it will be better. But Trca is so helpful because it customizes a unique plan to you based on your goals. So you can literally pick what specific race you're running, and then it will program like specifically to that race, like the time from now to the race day, the routes, whatever like incline you need. Like it is so specific on it. And then also you can put in your pace right now. So I just put in my most recent half marathon pace as like where I'm at now, and then I put in a goal pace, and it's formulating to like get me to that pace. So it's pushing me. I'm running faster than I've ever ran. It's training me to become faster to run a half marathon at my goal time. And so it's kind of reassuring, and it gives you confidence when you're doing workouts of, I can do this pace. I may have never done it, but like you have to trust in the training and trust in the process. And it's never let me down. I've always finished a workout, and it's very, very helpful to like stay disciplined too, because you can write, like when you're creating your plan, it asks you like, what days do you want to run? How many days do you want to run? And it formulates it perfect. So right now I run 3 days a week. I run typically Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday or Sunday. My long run, kind of varies depending on my weekend, but I do like a speed tempo workout, and then I do an easy run, and then I do my long run. And I love it. And on the app too is really cool because say my run's 5 miles, it like counts down. So it'd be like 4.8 miles, 3.6 miles, 2.5, and it like continuously counts down. And you can set like the time to like a treadmill, so it can tell you what like speed on a treadmill to be running, or if you're running outside, just what pace to be hitting. And it will like talk to you through your AirPods. It like connects to your phone and AirPods. And it'll be like halfway there, or to tell you like your mile split. It's so helpful. Like it gives you everything you needed, when you're running. And I wish I would have had that at the start for sure. Cause there's all sorts of plans. I'm literally following a Get Fit plan because I'm not training for a race right now. I'm just training to stay in shape and to get faster. But there's one for High Rocks. There's one for literally any race that there is, like any half marathon or marathon. You can just do like a beginner one. There's postpartum ones. It's super cool. There's literally one for every single person ever. Or hire a coach, hire a legit running coach. A lot of my running friends are coaches as well, and they do one-on-one coaching, which is probably even better because it's one-on-one, like you're getting interaction. This is just a customized plan through an app that's generated for you rather than having coaching calls and stuff. But I would get a coach or an app for sure. And number 7 is you don't always have to be training for a race to run. I don't know why I always felt the need to be like training for a race. I think I did it more so as like an accountability because it does hold you accountable. Honestly, I would train for a race at the beginning because it will hold you accountable to get the runs in. Because I knew if I skipped a long run, like that's going to, it's going to mess up my training block and my schedule. And like, if I don't do it, I'm not going to be in shape and I'm not going to be ready for race day, and I'm registered and signed up for the race day. So I have to do it. It will hold you accountable. So I would encourage you at the start to sign up for a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, go for a full marathon if you want, whatever you feel called to do. Register for one at the beginning because it will hold you accountable, just because you have that pressure of you got to perform by that date. And so you got to stay on plan. But after that, I don't know. I just guess I didn't really realize like it's okay to not have a race to be training for. You can still be running. It's definitely healthy to take an off season. You don't need to be running 24/7, 365 days a year. I mean, I only run 3 days a year, but like you don't have to always be in a training cycle. It's okay to take time off, but it's also okay to be in a training cycle and just to get fit like I am right now, or just to go on a run and feel good. You don't have to be running a race. It doesn't have to be like a sport. I think so many runners are always running races, and I think it puts a pressure on that, but like you don't have to. Races are so fun, and it's like the celebratory day to like celebrate all the hard work you've put in with training. But if running for you isn't competitive and you just want to do it for pure well-being and enjoyment, don't sign up for a race. And it's okay. Like right now I'm not, and I don't really have a desire to run a race anytime soon. And it's kind of nice because I guess I have the discipline. I have the 2 years in the bank of consistency and running races and knowing what it takes to hold, like, it's put me to a position where like I don't need a race to hold me accountable anymore. Like I just will run. Because too, once you get in shape with running, if you stop, like you quickly like lose your endurance and running becomes much harder again. And so it takes a while to get back to where you once were. So I think for me too, it's motivation is just to like maintain where I'm at, because I work so hard to get to where I'm at that I don't want to go backwards and have to retrain. Number 9 is, oh gosh, I love this. And I just started doing this like within the last 2 months, but I take a non-stimulant pre-workout. I use Pure Pump by Be Amazing, code Chloe, to save 10%. But literally, you guys, it's so essentially like a non-stimulant pre-workout has all the benefits of a pre-workout. It puts like oxygen to your blood. It just aids in performance and endurance, but it doesn't have caffeine. And with running, I really don't like having a ton of caffeine before I run because my heart rate's already accelerated. It's already higher. So I don't need a caffeine to like accelerate it even more. So a non-stim pre-workout gives me the benefits and the extra aid that I need for my run without the caffeine. And I love it. I actually truly wholeheartedly notice a big difference in my performance and my ability for my runs when I take it and when I didn't. And again, it's kind of nice because I take it like 30 minutes before my run. I drink like 8 to 12 ounces of water, and it's a good little boost of hydration before you run. But really recommend taking a non-stim pre. And then number 10, Your warm up and your cool down is critical, okay? Don't do what I did and not warm up and cool down ever. I was getting tendonitis in my knee again, and I thought it was because of treadmills. No, it was because I wasn't properly warming up and cooling down. My goal this week is to film my warm up routine for Instagram and TikTok, so you guys can, it should be up by the time you guys are listening to this episode. So check that out. I'll link it in the show notes if I can remember. But like a dynamic stretch, roll your muscles out, get your body flowing and going. It's important. It will prevent injury. It warms your body up. It makes running at the beginning much easier. Like it's you have to do it. It's so critical. Because I would get pain and injury when I wasn't doing it. And the cool down is also important. You need to be like rolling and stretching out at the end of your runs, just again, aid in recovery and prevent injury. That's like a pretty simple one. I don't know how much else to say, but you need to be doing it. Don't avoid it. And then 11, start slow and start short. When you start running, don't think you need to go sprinting 10 miles. That's not going to happen. That's not realistic. It's okay to start. I started at like 1.5 miles at like an 11-minute pace, which if you're running slower, that's even like, that's more okay. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Don't think you need to go out fast. Go out and just get used to feet on the ground and get used to putting in miles. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, even 3 miles at a time. Like it can be 1.5 miles. I did that for a while, and then I worked my way up to 2, worked my way up to 3, worked my way up to 4. And I just slowly, progressively added like 10% each week to my distance. And boom, I could run a half marathon at the end of it. That was like my training plan. I ran 3 miles every day for like a month, or not every day, sorry, like a couple times a week for a month to build like a solid base endurance and just learn the techniques and mechanics of running, learn my body when I ran. And then from there, I just went crazy and continued my plan. But start slow and start short. You don't need to run a ton of miles, and it doesn't need to be super fast right away. I think people get intimidated by that and they get discouraged. Don't let it stop you. Just go out there and just chill. Little quick 1.5 miler. That's all you gotta do. And then number 12, your mindset will have the power to dictate if it's a good run or a bad run. I swear running is 95% mental. Okay, maybe like 90% mental, 5% preparation, 5% like actual endurance and training. But like mentality is so huge. You have to go into running excited. And it's funny because I kind of had this like aha revelation, and I was like, why do I ever get nervous before runs? Because I have my best days after my runs. I feel so proud of myself. I feel so accomplished. The endorphins are crazy. My body feels great. I'm just honestly so proud of myself. And like when you're running, it's like a high. The runner's high is so real, especially if listening to worship music. Like it's a euphoric experience. It's amazing. But I'm like, why did I ever get nervous? Like every run always goes great. I always feel amazing before, after, during, and after. Like sometimes there's obviously a little like hard moment here and there, but like all in all, you feel great. And I'm like, I switched my mindset to getting excited for my runs because I'm like, these are always my best days. Like I have the most energy. I'm so excited. I'm proud. I'm productive. And I go in with that mindset. And two, like having a program to follow has built my confidence in knowing I can do the workout. It's like, okay, I did this last week, so I can be able to do this week. Like it's a progressive plan. So you trust in your training, trust in the process, and understand you're capable. You're much more, like your body will shut you down before, or your mind will shut you down before your body does. So don't let that happen. Because I'm telling you guys, I've had like low-key anxiety attacks on runs, and it has given me side cramps. It's just made it so awful. Like even during races, like it's bad. Like I used to get in my head so bad, and it was awful. It like I don't want to say like it paralyzes you, because I could keep running, but I'd be cramping. It'd be so much harder. My muscles would be going crazy. My heart rate would be spiking. Not good. So learn to control your mind, control your thoughts, and running will be smoother. Promise you that. And then number 13 is get fitted for your running shoes. Everyone always DMs me, what running shoes do you have? What do you recommend? What I recommend is going to a running shoe store, like specific shoe store, and they will like watch your foot pattern and how your foot strikes the ground, and you will try on different shoes, because there's like a million different types of shoes. I like the Asics Pure Gel Nimbus, and they're very like cushiony, springy, bouncy, and that's just like what my foot needs and my body needs, but like that doesn't mean that's what's going to be good for you. So get fitted for a shoe. Also too, a lot of people have like multiple pairs of training shoes. People have different race day shoes. You don't probably have to do that at the beginning. If you get more into it and more competitive with running, probably would recommend that. But I still, honestly, I run in like the same pair of trainers. So just go get fitted for a shoe rather than just like buying whatever your favorite influencer or runner person recommends. Like just go get fitted, because then you know it'll work with your foot. And a lot of running shoe stores have like a return policy, and it's like, go try these out for a week or two on your runs, and if you like them, obviously keep them. If you don't, then exchange them out. That's what I did. I had a pair of Brooks, did not like them at all. Like it was actually awful. And then I got these Asics, and I've never went back. They're like the only shoe I run in. And then number 14, oh, this is huge, you guys. This is huge. I just started doing this too, and I don't know why. It took me 2 years to do, but fuel during your runs. Fuel, okay? Like get the gels, get the chewy gummies, get the like honey stingers, whatever it is. If you're running more than like 5 miles, you need to fuel. I was always scared to do this because I usually ran outside, and I didn't know like eating and running. I didn't want to like legit poop my pants. I was scared about the digestion part of it. So I always avoided it because I just didn't do it at the beginning because I was not educated on it, didn't understand why I needed to do that, never did it. And so I was like, oh, I've never done it, don't need to do it. But the more I got into running, I realized like after like 5 miles, my body was like depleted, and then the rest of the run was hard. And then I would literally feel hungover. If I ran any more than like 5 miles that day, I would feel like sick for the rest of the day until I like rested, drank a ton of water, ate a ton of like, it took me like, I was running in the mornings, and I probably didn't feel normal until like 5 p.m. or later. Some days I would like have a headache all day and just feel like sick, genuinely hungover. And it's because I wasn't fueling and replenishing throughout my runs. Now I like the little honey stinger like gummies, and I pop like 6 of them probably. I do like 3 at like 3 miles, and then I do 3 more at like the 6 mile mark, because I don't usually run more than 10 miles. It is insane the significant impact it makes on your running. You feel like you're freaking on cloud 9 the whole run. You don't feel depleted. You don't feel hungover after the run. Like, it is important to fuel. Just trust me on that. There's science behind it. It's kind of like a no-brainer, duh. But like, start doing that in your training too. Because another reason I never did it is because they always say don't switch up anything on race day. So every time I had a race, I was like, well, I'm not just gonna start taking a gummy now. No, if I would have freaking fueled during the Boulder-thon, my life would have been completely different. I suffered through that run so bad, and Kyler fueled through it. He was having fun. He was bouncing around. I'm like, I get it now. I get it, because that's how I feel when I run now, because I'm fueling. And I didn't before because I was nervous. I'm like, I've never done it before. Like, I don't want to do it on race day and like poop my pants in this race. I wish I would have just done it. But anyway, fuel, get the gummies, get the stingers, get the gels, whatever you prefer, get them. And like I said, every like 3 to 4 miles, take one, or every maybe like 40 minutes. Okay, moving on to the last one. And number 15, the final tip I have for you, and the final thing I wish I would have known at the beginning of my running journey, is that running is for your overall health and well-being. Running is not a punishment. I think growing up as an athlete, our like conditioning, our punishment was always to run in volleyball and cheer. If we would drop a flyer, or if we weren't like, I don't know, behaving in practice, the coaches make us run. And so I formulated this like bad relationship with running, and viewed it as like a punishment. Or even like bodybuilders, cardio is like kind of the day they dread and hate. And so I was always like, oh, like I don't want to do cardio because it's hard. And I don't know, just no one ever enjoyed it. And then there was like the whole era of like the cardio bunny, and people like shame people for only doing cardio. And it was like, I don't know, people just had a weird perspective on people who ran and did cardio. It is not a punishment, you guys. Running is actually something you should be like honoring the abilities to do. There's so many people who can't even physically run because maybe of a disability or a condition, and they probably wish they could run, or just age. Like, running is a privilege, moving your body is a privilege, and running can be so good for your mental health. It can be so good for your physical, it is so good for your physical health. It's good for both of them. But view it as like a privilege. Don't view it as a punishment, and do it to honor your body rather than punish your body. Obviously, don't overdo it. Do it with like a reasonable approach. But I highly encourage you guys, if you're not a runner, if you're wanting to get started, if you kind of had the itch to start running, you didn't know how, like, take this as your sign to try it out. Like I said, it can be like a mile, it can be a mile and a half. Just go out there, run for 10 minutes. There's like a 10-minute rule people always have. And if they're not feeling a run, they go out there for 10 minutes. And if I would say 90% of the time, once you get going, you get warmed up into the run, you're like in the groove, and you're like runner's high starting to kick in, you're feeling good, you're motivated, you keep going, you finish the run. But if you're 10 minutes in and your body's telling you no, like, just shut it down, because some days your body just needs rest and it needs recovery and it doesn't need a run. So listen to your body in that, but go give it a shot. I highly encourage it. If you guys have any questions, you can always message me. But I will link Rana below. I will link the pre-workout, the non-stim pre-workout that I take below. And if there's anything else I think I need to link, I will. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. And like I said, I really hope this encourages you guys to go run because it's changed my life and I know it can change yours. So anyway, I love you guys so much and we will talk in the next episode. Bye guys.